Remember the 12th of March 2026. Write it down. Save it in your phone. Tell your friends about it. Because 20 years from now, when people sit together and talk about the nights that changed professional wrestling forever, this date is going to be right at the very top of that list. Not somewhere in the middle. Not near the top. At the absolute top. Because what happened on Raw this night was not just a match. It was not just two big guys standing in a ring and hitting each other. What happened on Raw was a collision between two different worlds. The most unstoppable force from the past and the most terrifying force of the present. Two giants. One ring. One night that the entire WWE Universe will never forget for as long as they live. Goldberg and Bron Breakker stood face to face on Raw. Who is next met who is now. And the world stopped breathing for a moment. Stay until the very last second of this video because I'm going to break down every single moment of this match, what it means for both men, and most importantly what happens next in a story that is only just getting started. Every word of this breakdown matters, so do not go anywhere. Let us start with the moment Goldberg's music hit. There is a specific feeling that happens in your body when Goldberg walks to a wrestling ring. It is not the same feeling you get when The Undertaker appears. That entrance gives you chills and silence and a feeling of deep respect. It is not the same feeling you get when Stone Cold's glass breaks. That gives you instant joy and excitement and makes you jump out of your seat without even thinking about it. Goldberg's entrance gives you something completely different. Something more raw and more primal than either of those. When that music hits and the pyro explodes and the smoke fills the arena and Goldberg starts that slow, deliberate walk toward the ring, your body feels something that your brain cannot fully explain. It feels like watching something genuinely dangerous moving in your direction. His eyes alone tell the whole story. By the time Goldberg reaches that ring, his mind is already somewhere else. Somewhere that most human beings never go. A place of pure focus and pure intensity that only a very small number of people on this entire planet can access. And Bron Breakker was standing in that ring watching all of it happen. Here is the thing about Bron Breakker that makes this moment so remarkable. This is a man who has been destroying every single person on the Raw roster for months. A man whose physical power is so overwhelming that people have been struggling to find the right words to describe it. A man who walks into every single match looking like the most dangerous thing in the building without any question or competition. But when Goldberg walked down that ramp on the 12th of March 2026, for the first time in a very long time, Bron Breakker was not the most dangerous thing in the building. And every single person in that arena felt that shift happen in real time. Now let us talk about the match itself because this is where everything became real. From the very first second it was clear that this was not going to be a technical match full of counters and reversals and carefully planned moves. This was not going to be a chess game. This was two bulls deciding to charge at each other in a space that was barely big enough to contain either one of them. Every single time these two men made contact, the entire arena shook. Every hit had real weight behind it. Every exchange had real consequence. And the crowd that was already louder than any Raw crowd in recent memory got even louder with every passing moment of genuine contact between two men who both hit harder than almost anyone this business has ever seen. The most important thing about how this match happened is what Bron Breakker chose to do. He did not slow down for Goldberg. He did not pull back and treat this like a special occasion where he needed to be careful and respectful. He came at Goldberg with the exact same aggressive, relentless, unstoppable energy he brings to every single Raw match against every single opponent. He treated Goldberg the way Goldberg has always treated his opponents. Like a problem that needs to be solved through maximum physical force applied without hesitation or mercy. And when that spear happened, the 20,000 people in that building felt it in their chests like a physical wave hitting them all at the same time. The noise that followed was the sound of an entire arena experiencing something they knew was special while it was still happening right in front of them. But here's the part of this story that I really want to spend time on because it is the most important thing that happened on Raw tonight. Yes, Goldberg showing up was incredible. Yes, seeing him compete in 2026 was emotionally and historically massive. But the real story of this match is what Bron Breakker proved about himself by being in it. Bron Breakker has been on an incredible path for months. The physical gifts are obvious to anyone watching. The athletic ability is something that years of training cannot manufacture in a person who was not born with it. The bloodline legacy runs through him in ways that show up in the biggest moments. But gifts and potential are just possibilities. They are not guarantees. What turns a promising performer into a genuine legend is the test. The specific moment where the person standing across from you is not just good but genuinely historic. The moment where the question being asked is whether you belong in the same conversation as the greatest names this business has ever produced. Goldberg on Raw tonight was that test for Bron Breakker. And Bron Breakker did not just pass the test. He exceeded every expectation that even his biggest supporters had for him going into this match. He stood across from a man whose shadow covers decades of professional wrestling history, and he competed with a confidence and a physical presence and an intensity that told every single person watching that Bron Breakker does not get smaller in big moments. He gets bigger. He rises to the level the moment demands. He finds something extra inside himself when the situation calls for it. And that quality is the quality that separates good performers from truly historic ones. The future of Raw showed up on the 12th of March 2026, and it showed up wearing the confidence of someone who knows exactly who he is and exactly where he is going. Now let us talk about what happens next, because this story is absolutely not finished. Whether Goldberg won this match by landing that legendary spear and jackhammer combination that has ended careers for decades, or whether Bron Breakker's youth and relentless power proved too much even for a living legend, one Raw match cannot be the complete statement of this collision. The match was too big. The investment from both men was too real. The crowd reaction was too massive for WWE to simply move on and act like this was a single chapter with a clean ending. If Goldberg won, then he did it against the most physically dominant opponent Raw has produced in years, and that victory demands a response from Bron Breakker that is bigger and more personal than a simple rematch request. It demands a developed story with real emotional stakes. If Bron Breakker won, then he did it against a man who represents everything this business has ever stood for, and that victory needs to be treated as the official arrival of someone who is now in a completely different conversation about who the top stars of this era truly are. Either way, the 12th of March 2026 was only the beginning. Drop your reaction in the comments right now. Where were you when Goldberg's music hit? What did you feel? Who do you want Bron Breakker to face next? And is there any part of you that wants to see Goldberg get one more massive moment after what he showed the world on Raw tonight? Subscribe and hit the notification bell immediately, because everything that comes after this night is going to hit harder than what came before it. Who is next met who is now on Raw tonight? And professional wrestling will never look quite the same again.